Welcome to the lunation situation where we break down the astrological energetic forecast for the coming mostly 2 weeks. And so we find ourselves June 11th at the full moon in Sagittarius occurring at 20 degrees. So if you have anything around 20 degrees of Sagittarius, approximately 3 degrees below and above, so between 17 and 23 degrees of Sagittarius, this one is important for you. Also, if you have those degrees in Gemini, Pisces, and Virgo, this full moon is personal. Now let's break it down because we need to know what a full moon is. We need to know what Sagittarius is all about. And then we look at the patterns that this chart is making to understand the intricate energies that we're playing with. Now, first of all, a full moon, just like the one in the sky, is round, and so it means something is completed, something is full, something is ending, something is also brought to light. The sun is opposite the moon. The moon is fully round, lit up. Something in, especially at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, is being lit up. Full light, the spotlight is on 20 degrees of Sagittarius. So something is being revealed at that point. And something that was hidden, something that we didn't realize before, now we can come into understanding. And full moons can also be a moment of harvest. In the last 6 months, you may have reaped the fruits. And so here you get the gifts, the harvest of your work. A full moon is also highly emotional because of the opposition between the sun and the moon. This is where the word lunacy comes from. So heightened emotions. And we can feel a little sensitive sometimes during a full moon, or just very emotional. Feeling like you're pushed between two sides, as well as being a very joyful, I know it's weird, almost bipolar, right? But I think that's actually a good description for a full moon, being pulled in two directions. So yeah, very sensitive, and on the other side, joyful, ready for a party, ready to get going, to go out and celebrate. And especially with Sagittarius, I think that energy is very heightened. So what I'm really excited to say, I have been doing this lunation situation for a while, so my job is to analyze what the sun and the moon, the luminaries, are doing together. Now, what is so interesting is that the ruler of Sagittarius, Jupiter, has entered, it's one of the most favorable signs for Jupiter, the crab, only 2 days before this full moon. And the most interesting about that is that it entered into the crab with the moon being in Sagittarius. And of course, because it was 2 days ago, we still have the moon in Sagittarius. So now, okay, that's one thing. Let's set that aside. So we have Jupiter moving into the crab with the moon in Sagittarius. Now we are at the full moon in Sagittarius. And then 1 month later, July 7th, we will have Uranus. This is a really big transit moving into Gemini with also the moon in Sagittarius. This to me indicates that from at least June 9th, we are in a very exciting month. We have Sagittarius energy written all throughout these 4 weeks at least, okay? So what is Sagittarius then about? Well, it's the third fire sign in the zodiac, so it's very exciting. It's very fiery, it's very passionate, it's very outgoing, it loves to have different things going on, it's easily bored, so it needs different interests, different activities. Sagittarius is very outgoing, meaning it wants to travel the world, explore new cultures and languages, and really broaden its horizon. So adventure is high on the list. Being inspired, wanting to inspire other people. This is true leadership. This is the teacher. This is the guru. This is also faith. And so there's religion and belief, philosophy, asking big questions, really interested in multiple things, and basically discovering all there is. So very passionate. So we are expanding our knowledge, we are asking the bigger questions, we are shifting paradigms, we are shifting perspectives. That's what Sagittarius is all about. And of course, looking at the bigger picture, what does it mean? What is the meaning of this? And what Sagittarius and Jupiter have in common that is so great is that they are the most optimistic energy of the zodiac. This is about having fun. This is about humor, laughter, joy, and really pursuing. The pursuit of happiness is really a Sagittarius and Jupiter thing. And really follow that joy, follow that direction. And that's why it's interested in upliftment. So what lifts you up? Or because this is a full moon and something is ending, a cycle is ending, you could also ask yourself, what hasn't been lifting you up for the last 6 months? Have you been going through trials and tribulations that have really tested your capacity for joy? And have you maybe forgotten how important this is and to feel passionate again? So definitely we are being stimulated, and that's also because of what's going on in the chart. We are learning more, we are understanding more, we are expanding our knowledge of self and the world around us. Also with Sagittarius, there comes this desire to be wild and free-spirited, to be more liberated and free, the wanderlust, to just be able to explore your interests, and the world is just something we need to consider and implement into our daily lives. And at the same time, it's about also justice, law, religion, faith, divinity, belief. So remember that that's part of it as well. So did your beliefs change? Did your perspective change? What are you seeking to understand more? What have you been understanding these last 6 months? Because something is coming to a conclusion here. And if you have something at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, pair that planet meaning to the Sagittarius, to the house especially. So where is 20 degrees of Sagittarius falling in your birth chart? Because that house is being lit up. And it means that the focus, the spotlight is on the theme of that house. So let's say if it's the 6th house, then it's on work or service or your daily life, or perhaps nutrition, taking care of yourself. If it's your 10th house, it's about career or legacy. If it's your 2nd house, it's about finances and income, maybe changes in values. If it's the 9th house, it could be about publishing a book or traveling, making big, long-term, interesting travels, or perhaps you want to learn a new language or a new study. So those are little indications, and below this video I have a few words that are attached to every house, so you can look at the meaning for this for you. So what are we broadening our horizons for? What are we finding meaning about? Let's look into the chart. Now, the moon is at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, and right away we see that it's interacting not just with the sun opposite the moon, of course, because it's a full moon, but also because it's, personally, the moon is T-squaring the nodes, but because it's a full moon, there's already that opposition between the sun and the moon. It means that it's making a big cross between sun, moon, north node, and south node. This means that it's a grand mutable cross in this chart. Now that is one of the easiest grand crosses there are in the zodiac. So it means there is this grand pull for flexibility, for adaptation, the need to make choices, to change the paradigm, changing your perspective on things. The perspective needs to shift. Looking at the bigger picture from above, ask the meaningful questions, and make sure that you follow what lifts you up, what brings you joy, or what is inspiring you and bringing you pleasure. So the grand mutable cross with the nodes means that there is a divine push, a divine guidance. And since Sagittarius has that quality in itself, it's very much like let your spirit guide you, follow more of the divine path, trust fated events and experiences, be more open to the faith and the belief. And so you have to adapt to some big changes. And if you want to know which changes, you can look again at the houses. So not just where 20 degrees of Sagittarius is at, but also where it is 20 degrees approximately of Virgo, 20 degrees approximately of Pisces, as well as Gemini. So those houses require shifts and changes, if not physical, at least how you look at it, the perspective, the beliefs you had regarding these house topics. It's changing. And like I said, this is tied into Jupiter moving in the crab, the ruler of this lunation, as well as Uranus soon moving into Gemini, because it's all related to the Sagittarius moon. And it's only 1 month apart from each other, so definitely strong connection. And it just means that there's just adventure, passion, and excitement, okay? Grand joy, and I think it's highly welcome, and that just makes it very interesting and enjoyable. Well, at least there's a promise for that. Another thing, there's a grand fire triangle, trine with this moon, but also to Chiron, who's in Aries, and on the other side of the triangle, we have Mars in Leo. So Mars, Chiron, and this moon are making a subliminal, joyful, fantastic fire energy that's bringing more excitement and inspiration and motivation to do, to conquer, to start, and to express, to be more seen. This is all about confidence, okay? We should feel very confident and joyful around this lunation, or at least feel this drive and passion and motivation you may not have felt for a very long time, okay? So obviously that is welcome, and it's a very different shift. I've not seen this much excitement, fire, and passion and motivation for a long time. And like I said, it's high the coming 4 weeks, so that's so promising. And again, of course, if you have something at the latter part of Leo and Aries, this is also influenced. So what are you ready to start? What are you feeling motivated about? What passion are you ready to take upon you again? Or it could be 2 parts that you're reflecting on what you what didn't go that way, and now what you are interested in. So okay, there's that both going on, and that bothness can bring a little bit of sadness to what didn't go the way you would have liked it, at least the last 6 months. But that's not really important. the importance is that now there's a massive shift. So where are you ready to go towards? What are you ready to move in which direction? And make sure that you feel passionate and excited about what you're doing, because that will bring you the biggest gifts, because that's what Jupiter is about. It's about expanding, blessing, protecting, fortune, prosperity, abundance, all that good juju, all that good energy that we want. So this is the time. And so this big, grand, juicy fire trine that at the bottom has this moon in Sagittarius is actually also a kite formation towards the sun in Gemini. And that means that we really take off at that Gemini point at 20 degrees. So, you know, again, look at your chart. Where is 20 degrees of Gemini in my chart? This is where there's a little bit of a push, a takeoff moment where things are happening, it seems. Perhaps 20 degrees of Gemini is in your 12th house. Now that means it's beyond this world, what's taking off. There is, you know, divine support, angelic support, ancestral support going on. You might feel or see things in your dreams. If 20 degrees of Gemini falls in your first house, now you're changing the way you look, probably. Maybe you're feeling way more confident in your body, and also what you want to do and start in your life. If it's your fourth house, 20 degrees of Gemini, you may want to move houses, you know, or heal deep childhood wounds, and you can do that with mental based therapy. Beautiful therapy like EMDR or EFT is very Gemini-esque, I think, because it uses the two lobes of the brain to process emotions. Well, all of that, you know. So there is just so much excitement and change, but good change going on in this chart. And that's what the moon is doing. And then when we look at the ruler, Jupiter, it's not only conjunct Mercury, which means that we're very tapped into mentally into that Jupiter in the crab energy. And I made a whole video about what Jupiter in the crab can mean. And that's the promise of having actually potentially 12 months of this energy of, you know, excitement, of inspiration, of really expanding our notion of home, of love, of comfort, of feel goodness, of nurturing ourselves, and yeah, ancestral gifts, and the value of that, and really a lot of emphasis on what lifts you up. Okay, so our mind is at that place, so we're really understanding a lot of that. So there's a lot of knowledge and information going on with this full moon. So we're coming into an understanding where we can process a lot of that information and feelings. So it's a good combination, which usually is difficult, right? Thoughts and ideas and you know, reflections about that and emotions tend to be a little bit oppositional, not blending very well, and it's actually related to the left and right hemisphere of the brain. But it means we are more in sync. Okay, we can bring the sensitivities as well as our knowledge and wisdom, and really understand what has been going on and what brings us joy and how we can move forward in that area. Okay, what lifts you up, what makes you feel good. Okay, have more adventure, excitement, and passion in your life. It's a must. Now this Jupiter, the ruler of this chart, is making two important aspects. One, it's sextiling, making a good aspect, but one that requires some effort, some input with Venus, who's at home in Taurus. So we're also thinking about finances. We're also thinking about confidence, beauty, while taking all of this Jupiterian, Sagittarian information into it. So this is about making money through enjoyment with your passions, right? This is about changing up your look, being more self-expressional, less fearful, a little bit expanding as well your look, your finances. And I think this is also where there's more excitement in relationships and love, where we want to feel really homey and comfortable with someone, but also have that passion and excitement that the Sagittarius blend can bring in. Um, the other thing, a little bit more problematic, is the square that Jupiter's making to Saturn. This square is exact June 15th, when they are both at 1 degrees and 19 minutes. But in this lunation, this square is very prominent, and I think that's the only really big, well, I mean, the grand mutable cross is also a bit of a difficulty, but something we can really push through. But the square to Saturn might feel really tough. And it's not just squaring Saturn, which is the big major storyline, because it started in August of 2024. So we have been dealing with this square energy for the last 10 months. But this time there are new players in the game, and that is Neptune at the Saturn side and Mercury at the Jupiter side. So there's a really, a clash between these energies, and obviously very relevant because Jupiter is the ruler of this lunation. So we will feel it harder during this full moon. How can that come about? Perhaps some obstacles and blockages and hurdles, perhaps a little bit of, sometimes feeling really excited, and then something is taming that excitement, bringing it a little bit down. Perhaps, like, oh, I want to start this, I want to do this, and really feeling motivated and passionate, and then, something tampering that, but also making you think more about, okay, is this really what you want? And then how are you going to do that? Not just, the Saturn demands more seriousness, devotion, and dedication, and responsibility about how you're going to do it, and being serious about what you want. So I think it's a highly creational energy, very fruitful, and that's the whole meaning of it. I speak a lot about this in the Jupiter crab video, so because that is occurring 2 days before this, so that energy is well explained in that video. But just to tap a bit on it, because it's so relevant here as well, is that, yeah, it's a fruitful time, but it's also feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Things are changing massively. That's why there's this grand mutable cross going on, because we need to adapt. We need to be flexible to quick changes in our reality. But we also have to consider that it means all those changes means that there are momentums for change that can make you leap forward, like, really strongly. So this is where Saturn is like, be serious and truthful about your goals in life, about your dreams, about your passion. It's also taming a bit of that Jupiterian energy that can fluff things up, be maybe a little bit more unrealistic, and wanting maybe too much, or just not you know, being too Pollyanna, like, oh, that's just gonna happen, and you know, it's kind of tampering a bit of the blind faith. Saturn is like, take responsibility um, for your path forward, and this can come really in like, it's a bit of a stop go energy, okay, where, like I said, you could have literal things blocking, or just mood swings, and feeling like you can start something and then not. And then the not part is because you need to consider a couple of things. And what you really need to do is trust your gut. That's the Jupiter thing. And, you know, trust your intuition and your gut, because that's where the knowledge is at. And Saturn is just saying, okay, be realistic and be serious. Be focused and, you know, determined to make that happen. And I think even though it seems like it's tampering a bit of the joy, it's actually to make sure you're doing the right things. And so it's not taking away the joy, it's just making sure that the joy is long term, okay, that's gonna last. So that's exciting, I think. And there's a lot of information coming in, I think, with this lunation, with crab, with Jupiter in the crab, and as well, of course, with Uranus moving into Gemini next month. There's so much information coming in, and I think maybe it's from the outside, maybe it's like downloads, energetic information. There's intuitive information going on. There is potentially like ancestral information that you may feel, or somebody tells you, or you know, it's there's just a lot of information. And even your dreams are giving informations right now. So I think that is a lot of overload, um, um, but really important. And there will be a way of how we process that. And again, trust the gut, trust your intuition, and that will show you what is the real truth. And make sure that you use everything for your benefit to enhance joyfully the path you are on. So good times, you know, a little bit of a promise of a joyful, fun summertime, which would be great. So happy full moon in Sagittarius, and see you soon. Bye.